If you want to learn how to build a base in Clash of Clans, this video is just right for you. Because in this video I'll take you through the whole process of building a base from scratch and will tell you exactly what to look out for when it comes to base building. With that, hello and welcome to yet another video. My name is GumGum, and if you like this kind of content, then make sure to subscribe to our channel. Over 90% of you guys are actually not subscribed to our channel, so if you want to help us out, make sure to do that right now and click on that button. I already have a relative idea what I want to do with this base, or at least how I want to start with this base. So let's dive directly into it and start off with our multi-inferno tower. I always like to start with key defenses. It's completely up to you. You can basically start anywhere in the base and with anything in the base. Some people will maybe start with a cannon. Some people will maybe start with the Townhall. I like to start with key defenses. So in this case, of course, on Townhall 10, that would be a multi-inferno tower. And I want it to be unwalkable for an Archer Queen. So in order to make it unwalkable for an Archer Queen, you always need 4 tiles in between the defense as well as the wall. But I want to make it 4 walls right here and 5 walls to the other side, so it's not completely symmetrical, but I will make a box space so it will be symmetrical in the end. So let's do that right now. 1 second, need to make that a little bit shorter, and now it's right. And now we put our town hall right here, and this is how we will begin our base, and we will fill everything up with a few of those walls. And then troops will also have a very hard time actually walking into this base. Something's looking off. Yes, I already know what it is. That needs to be right there. And now we also make it so troops don't really have a pathing into this multi-inferno tower. And if your dragons, or for example your witches, go in there, they will just walk around the Inferno Tower compartment and get absolutely fried. And just because it is so fun, we do the exact same thing right here as well. But this time we're not going to make it completely unwalkable, but we're going to make a 2 walls separated from this side. Once again, we're just going to put a ton of walls in there to make your troops path around there. But the question is, do I now put a small compartment right here? Or do I do it the other way around so we have a compartment in the middle of the base? That's the question I'm currently now asking myself. Because now we just have 2 dead zones aligned, and I don't like that very much. So I think I'll just do it like this. I think this could also be quite an interesting idea. I could, of course, also still make it unwalkable from like this side. But I think I actually like it this way. I think it's actually quite an interesting idea. So we'll just put a wall right here and maybe a wall right there. Or it just leaves the compartment open so I can maybe put some expos in there. That's maybe also a good idea. But of course we will move everything a little bit more into the middle. And then of course we can put our clan castle in the core of the base. I like always having the clan castle in the middle of the base. It's of course completely up to you. If you want to surprise the attacker, you can of course also have it completely in the outside. But you of course need to watch out a little bit, because maybe, even though they aren't on Townhall 10, the attacker could always use some sneaky goblins. But this is also very important for like the higher Townhall levels. If you're like Townhall 11, 12, 13, 14, you might still learn something from this video. And of course, if we then were to put the clan castle right here, you would just send a few sneaky goblins in there and your clan castle is gone. But of course, that's a lot harder if you put the clan castle in the middle of the base. But now, of course, I will put some air sweepers maybe right there. I don't know if those air sweepers will stay here, but I'll just place them for now. And we will just continue with the rest of the base. Let's make another compartment right here where we'll actually put 2 of our expos in, and also 5 walls this time, so we can actually put some storages right here or something else. And it's actually for lightning spells, or well, not lightning spells, I mean E-Direct Chains. Of course, on Townhall 10, You don't have any E-direct chains, but you still have to take it into account. I mean, in Townhall 10 you don't have any E-directs, but you still have to take it into account a little bit because, well, if you're running a Townhall 10 base in normal clan wars, there is a slight chance, or well, actually a very big chance, that you might be attacked by the Townhall 11 player, and the Townhall 11 player is most likely going to come in with E-dragons. So that's exactly why we're going to actually take into account those E-dragon chains as well. And now we can maybe even put our Archer Queen right there in combination with the Minion Prince. Do I put them together? That's the question. Do I put both of them together, or do I have them separated? I think I'll rather have them separated. So the Archer Queen right there, and the Minion Prince most likely right there. So actually both of those multi-inferno towers, or both of those setups of the base, are covered quite severely. I think I like this, like how it's going so far. I can maybe put in the Hero Hall here as well. And the Hero Hall, of course, is yet another tank. Of course, we now have the possibility to have some lightnings, or well, some E-Dragon chains over the expos. I mean, from the Elixir storage to the Hero Hall to the expo, but I still think that Hero Hall right there is quite solid just to stall all of those troops. I think it's quite okay so far, and also it's not a defensive building, so if we just play some defenses around here, for example, if we were to go in with Hawk Riders or would go in with Loons, they will not path directly into the expos and directly into the core of the base, but they will just path around this compartment and then get absolutely screwed. On each of this corner I will just make another compartment and another compartment right here, where we will have our air defenses located. I don't know if I place my air defenses in the one next to the expos, that's a question, but probably I will do that, just because you don't want to have those air defenses on the outside just so they aren't walkable for the Archer Queen. Of course, if I were to place the air defense right here or right here or right here, of course an Archer Queen from the outside could snipe it off, making it severely vulnerable to dragons. But of course, if you place your air defenses in the middle, it's of course not the case this time. But now we do have to watch out with giant arrows, because giant arrows could come in from like here, for example, and take out both of those air defenses. And also I will most likely place 2 more air defenses right here approximately, which will also make more arrows possible, like arrows from here as well as arrows from here. So we have to watch out for that in a little bit. But maybe I will even place my air defenses both right here, and that should actually fix it. Now it's a little bit harder to line it up. Of course, you can not always defend every single arrow angle. It is just impossible. If you're a good player, you're always getting 2 air defenses with a giant arrow. It doesn't matter. But of course, we just want to limit the value a little bit. So that's exactly why we're placing them not directly in one linear angle, but like more in a diagonal angle. So the arrow is just a little bit tougher. Now, of course, we still have 2 arrows from, for example, here to worry about, but it's still now only 4 arrows we only have to worry about. And that's something we can easily do when placing our traps, especially if we save up some more walls. If we don't need every single wall for our main setup of the base, we can of course still save up some walls and have them limit those arrow value. I'll quickly grab a drink because stay hydrated is important. Especially if I'm like talking here for non-stop right here for half an hour. That's of course very, very hard. Well, at least very hard to do without any water. Now I do see that we have a possible lightning spell on top of the air defense and the air sweeper. Lightning spells have a radius from like you need 4 tiles in between 2 defenses in order to not have them be able, or well, to not make any lightning spells possible. So we will just extend this setup of the base, remove that wall, extend it a little bit, and now put our air defenses right here. And now we still... and now our air sweepers are, of course, not able to get zapped out. But the question is, of course, will I keep them there, yes or no? Maybe even not. I'll just remove them. I'll just remove them and move the compartment back. And I'll most likely just put my sweepers somewhat right here and right here. Something like this could be quite okay. But of course, we first have to make a little bit more compartments. So we will do exactly that. We'll make this same compartment right here. I just have to keep an eye on my walls because I have no idea how many compartments I can still make. Maybe I'll have to make a bigger compartment here as well. I think I'll just do that. I will extend it by 2 walls so we can do something interesting. And also, of course, limit some chain value. So of course, now, if I place my expo right here, you can of course chain it from the air defense as well as from the expo. If I were to place it right here, you of course cannot. So I don't know if I will place like defenses right here or maybe right here. But of course, either way, you're not able to get any chain value from Electro Dragons. Now I just want to make 2 more compartments. On the 12 o'clock corner as well as on the 9 o'clock corner. But the question is, can we do that and still save up some walls? Yes, we have 3 walls left right now. That is decent. 3 walls is surely something we can work with. Problem is, of course, now our air defenses are walkable. Maybe we can also be a little bit funny and place our air defenses in the middle of the base. Would it be interesting? Do I place them more on the outside or do I place them more inside of the base? Like inside of the base, they could be quite good against dragons actually. I think I'll actually put them inside of the base and then 2 more storages right here to stall like dragons as well as electro dragons, and once again 2 tiles in between the air defense as well as the electro storage, so you're unable to get any chain value. Only possible chain is over the clan castle, but of course, I don't think that will make too much of a difference. I don't think that matters too much. So I think the air defenses right there are actually quite interesting. And now we can of course place like a wizard tower right here, wizard tower right here. To defend Lalo is actually not too good to place. Well, I think I will just move them away. Because against Lalo, it's just not good to place wizard towers directly next to air defenses. In some cases, it can be okay. For example, if you want to defend the air defenses against skeleton spells. But of course, it's already the case with the multi-inferno tower. No one will be able to put a skeleton spell right there due to those multi-inferno towers. So we don't need to worry about that. Now we just can place 2 more expos right here. One more expo just so we have it a little bit offset. 1 expo is coming right here, and now we need to have 1 more defense right here as well, which will just be an archer tower, and we will have it quite symmetrical still, because you can already see we have 6 cannons, which is of course, and I mean 6 cannons and 6 archer towers, which is an even number, so we can make it symmetrical, which is of course incredibly nice. I'll just put 2 wizard towers right here, because I think those wizard towers will be quite annoying. Now the question is, what will I do to fill that up? Maybe I can even put my wizard towers more inside of the base. Do I like that? Probably not. Probably not a big fan of that. Or I will just place 2 archer towers right there. Maybe that's even more interesting. And then 2 wizard towers. Maybe somewhat right here. I think it's quite okay. I think it's quite okay to have the wizard towers placed right there. And then we can maybe put 2 more storages, 1 more right there, 1 more right there, and they are also tanking for the expo as well as tanking for the air defense. Those air defenses are now well protected. They are incredibly well protected against dragons. So if you were to come in and use your arrow for these 2 air defenses and then come in with dragons or electro dragons from the top side, those dragons are just getting fright. They will get absolutely fright. So most likely we're just going to defend the arrows on these 2 air defenses with our remaining walls, with the 3 remaining walls, and we will just leave them open just to have like a little bit of a bait. So people will actually come in from this side, or well, from the 4 o'clock side, I mean 8 o'clock side, as well as the 2 o'clock side to arrow out these 2 air defenses. Then we of course still have those expos left standing. We still have the Archer Queen. And then we can maybe also put like a few Tesla right here, or even maybe a Tesla farm. We can maybe put like 4 Tesla right here. And this is now going to fry dragons. So now if you were to come in and use your arrow to get these 2 air defenses, your dragons will just get fried from both sides. You have a quite a damage setup right here with the Archer Queen, as well as 2 expos, as well as the Tesla farm, and right here also all of those storages with the multi-inferno tower, with the minion prince, with the clan castle, and 2 of those air defenses. I think this base is now pretty much dragon proof if we don't do anything stupid, which you of course don't want to do. Now the big question is, where are we going to place our air sweepers? That's the biggest question right now. Maybe I'll just put them something like this. Do I have my air sweepers pointed this way? I think it will be quite interesting just to defend. Just to defend dragons from the top side even more, but now most likely people will go in from, well, they will arrow these 2 air defenses and then go in from this side, which is actually still quite decent because you have those backend air defenses as well as the backend multi-inferno tower. I think it's quite okay to have. So we'll just put even more archer towers on this backend side. We just want to have this backend completely defended. And maybe we can also place like 1 archer tower right here and 1 archer. No, we don't want to give more value with our arrow. Like if we were to place more archer towers right there, it's just extra value with our giant arrow. So we actually only want ground defenses that go down, and we can have 2 more archer towers right here. And we can have maybe like 2 mortars right here. And now you can already see that we have the exact pathing, like I said earlier in the video, around this setup with the expo, and then those troops will just go from the mortar onto the archer tower and then walk around this way, which is exactly where you want to move, want to have them, of course. Now we will just move the air sweepers 1 more inwards, so we can put like wizard towers right here, and those wizard towers will of course also be unchainable. I'll just maybe just move them 1 more inwards, and then the same with these cannons. Or I'll just, I think it will be an interesting idea to place some gold storages right here as well. I think that's quite interesting. Of course, now we're offering a little bit of chain value. At least we're offering change. But we're offering change. Chains. We're offering chains, but not any chain value, which is of course the important part. Because those chains will now of course go around the air sweeper, around the expo, and the expo as well as the air sweeper are of course the defenses that you want to target. And you want to go down with those chains, as well as of course the air defense, which is not the case in this base. So far this is of course looking incredibly decent. Just the last factor is, what am I going to do with my bomb towers? How would you attack this base with Hawk Riders? You would most likely just go in from the top side right here with a lock. Well, you can't use the raw lock launcher, so you'd go in with a, what's it called, with a battle ram, and then Hawk Riders for the back end. So most likely it will be quite a good idea to have like bomb towers right here, or maybe swap them around as well. Maybe something like this. I think this is quite okay. This is quite okay what I'm doing so far. I think this is quite decent, yes. And now we'll just be able to completely trap this side with like spring traps, with like giant bombs. We also have the Tesla farm right here. But also, you would need to use some skeleton spells for this Archer Queen, which is of course possible. The Hawk Rider plan on this base would of course be, again, you go in with the Ram Rider, with the Battle Ram. But of course, if you don't get the multi-inferno tower in the middle of the base, you're completely screwed. If you don't get that multi-inferno tower, you're completely screwed. And if you were to like place some, let's say, ice golems instead of the clan castle, maybe some ice golems as well as some rocket loons, that will just stall up that push. And also make it so the multi-inferno tower as well as the minion prince will maybe be able to get everything down. We of course have 2 more defenses. That would be the mortar as well as the cannon. I'll just place them this way, maybe the other way around. So we have just a little bit more damage, and also it's just a little bit harder to funnel. Now the question is, what am I going to do with the... I will just put some collectors right there, right? Yeah, I think it's quite okay. I think it's quite okay to put some collectors right there. We can maybe even make the funnel a little bit harder if we like put some Teslas right here. If you like put some Teslas right here to snipe off wizards, it could be of course an interesting concept. But the question is, do I want to do that, or do I want to have the whole Tesla farm right here against dragons? I think dragons are a bigger threat. More people use dragons, use electro dragons. So the Tesla farm right here would of course do quite a bit of work, especially if we were to put like a few air bombs in there. Of course, we have to watch out. We don't want to use any, or well, put any air bombs in between the lines of both air defenses. That's of course not good, because if a lava hound were to fly over from this air defense to another air defense, they will just trigger every single one of the air bombs. So we just have to stack our air bombs next to the core Inferno Tower. But this is something we have to test out if this is good or not. Because if we place them like here, of course they will be triggered if a hound pops on top of this air defense. And if we put them too close to this air defense, they will of course still get popped if still get lured if a lava hound were to pop there, right there. So we have to test it out a little bit, where exactly is the best spot for our air bombs. But I think if we just cluster this setup of the base, or well, this part of the base a little bit with all of those skeleton spells, and also maybe with a little bit of air skeletons, I think it's already a very, very good thing. Of course, traps are always something you have to test out, but I think just clustering this up is still something very, very neat. But once this base is finished, we can just test it out tomorrow and take a look if it's good or not. But I think already a lot of players are going to struggle with how this base is looking so far. We of course still have our trash wing to place, and we of course want to defend those arrows from this side, so we don't want to make arrows possible for those air defenses. Those are of course the biggest threats. At least those 2 air defenses are the biggest threat for dragons, so we really don't want to make any of those arrows possible. So we'll just place a wall right there, as well as right there, and then just a few elixir collectors around there. And now, of course, it's still possible, yes, it is still possible to do those arrows if you do them diagonally from like this elixir collector, as well as from that elixir collector. But it's just significantly harder, as if I would, for example, place a gold mine right here. You just have a linear angle on top of this air defenses. It's always possible, you just have to be a little bit lucky. But I think we just made it a little bit harder, so people are mainly going to try to use this arrow on top of those, over those bomb towers, over both of those air defenses, hopefully. You never know how an attacker is going to approach your base, but I think we made this approach for a base now significantly more interesting, because it just looks easier. It just looks easier, and then you can send in all of your dragons into both of those expos, which is just exactly what we want. Then we have all of this, air bombs stacked up in the core. We can also have like a few seeking air mines on the backhand. And maybe you can also have a air targeting clan castle in there, like for example a few archers. You can have like an ice golem in there, maybe double ice golem with 5 archers, or like an ice golem in combination with 20 archers. I think an ice golem in combination with 20 archers will be interesting, or like an ice golem with 1 headhunter and 14 archers. I think that is a clan castle you can easily run in a base. You have the ice golem to stall up troops if they were to come in from the 10 o'clock corner. You have the area, you have the archers just to irritate your dragons, as well as those electro dragons, and you just have that headhunter in there as well to decimate those heroes, as well as of course slow down those electro dragons if it were to target electro dragons. So I think of course, clan castle is also something you have to test out. But if you were to have it's just a suggestion. It's just a good suggestion from my side. I think it will be quite okay to just put in 1 ice golem, 1 headhunter, and 14 archers. Does it make 35? I don't know. I'm not good at math, so I'm incredibly bad at math, so probably that's 35. I don't know. Just 1 ice golem, 1 headhunter, rest archers, and you're good to go. Exact amount, you have to calculate it out. I have no idea. Should be like 14 archers, but no idea. You'll know. Alrighty, but let's finish off our trash ring. And it's mainly just about trash rings. I just don't think too much about it. The most important thing is just you always want to have like all of those trash buildings a little bit separated, so you don't offer too much chain value. That's just the biggest factor. And right now you can already see chain value, or well, chains are not possible from like the dark elixir storage to any of those buildings. If we were to place like an exit pump right here as well, if you were to put an electro dragon on top of this dark elixir storage, you would have absolutely no chain value. So this is exactly what you want. You always want to have like 2 tells in between every single trash building. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Not much thinking, just 2 tells in between every single trash building, just like that. And then we have a wonderful finished trash ring. We can of course place some barracks right here as well. Have an army camp right there, have an army camp right there. And now we still have a few more trash buildings we can place exactly right here. And with that, we have a wonderful finished trash ring. We of course still have 4 builder huts. We still have 1 of our walls. So I will actually place 1 more wall right here just to make the arrow a little bit more annoying. With that, we can move this trash ring over a little bit. Of course, the trash ring is not not completely symmetrical. But to be honest, who cares? Who cares about a symmetrical trash ring? A trash ring is just something, you have to have it. And you can just place this builder huts in the corner of the base. And with that, we have our base finished. We just need to place a little bit more of our skeleton traps, or well, a little bit more of our traps, so we do exactly that. Of course, if we were to come in with Hawk Riders, you would come in from the 10 o'clock's corner. So we want all of our giant bombs to be on the back end. Or we can... Is this base vulnerable to witches? Could this base be possibly vulnerable to witches? That's the question. We of course have the bomb tower here on the outside, which is of course going to decimate those witches. So we can maybe support the bomb tower with like a anti-witch trap, which would be 1 giant bomb in combination with 2 small bombs. Or is it... No, I think it's on Townhall 10 I believe it's 3 small bombs. I don't know exactly. But as far as I know, on Townhall 9 it would be 2 small bombs. On Townhall 10 it would be 3 small bombs. So we do exactly that. We place our giant bomb right there in combination with 3 of our small bombs. With that, if you were to come in with witches from the top side, as well as from the 12 o'clock corner, as well as from the 9 o'clock corner, they will thin out if they reach the bomb tower, which is just exactly what we want, of course. And now we can place 2 more of those giant bombs against Hawk Riders. We can move this one out of the way. We can place another giant bomb right there. And we can maybe just put another skeleton trap right there. And now, of course, we still have all of our spring traps we can use against Hawk Riders. Maybe I'll just move in the hidden Tesla 1 tile so we can put a spring trap right there. And we can maybe put another spring trap right there. Would you send in your Hawk Riders from the top side? I would most likely, right-handed people would most likely send in their Hawk Riders from the right-hand side, so we want our spring traps to be right here instead of the other side. And spring traps, of course, are also something that you have to test out. I have no idea if these spring spots are exactly where these Hawk Riders will be or will walk around, but it's just something you have to try out. It's just trial and error. Take a look where those Hawk Riders are pathing, how they're pathing, and place those spring traps accordingly. I'll just put the last spring trap right there. And with that, we have this wonderful base, and I think it's looking quite ugly to attack. If you were a Townhall 10 player, good luck attacking this base. If you're a Townhall 11 player and want to use your E-Drex, I also wish you a lot of luck. Of course, it's not completely possible to defend every single Town 11 attack strategy. Every single Town 11 attack. Also goes the same with Town 10 attack strategies, because of course you have the siege machines who have the maxed clan castle troops, which will just make it incredibly easy for an attacker. But I think this base in Clan Wars, it could do a little bit of work. And of course, I hope that you were able to learn something in this base building tutorial. With that, I would say, see you guys soon with the next video. Of course, if you want to see more of this content, make sure to let me know down in the comments, and also type which town hall you would like to see next. And also make sure to subscribe to our channel to not miss any more content. And maybe one day we will actually hit the 20k subscribers. With that, I would say see you guys soon with the next video. Until then, see ya and bye bye.